Jigsaw was essentially the revitalization of the Saw series after a 7-year absence after the release of Saw 3D The Final Chapter, the supposed final chapter. Jigsaw was released on the Halloween of 2017. It was meant to be a rebirth, a revitalization for the series, bringing it back to its roots. But in reality, Jigsaw came off to be a really boring and sluggish excuse to bring back a big IP horror franchise for Halloween. But at the same time, thanks to Jigsaw and its success in 2017, we ended up getting Spiral. Now they're doing more video games and they've got more movies coming out and a possible TV show. So I owe a lot to this movie in regards to it rebooting in a way or respawning my favorite horror franchise of all time. Jigsaw is a movie I don't necessarily love, but is one I've learned to appreciate even with all of its issues. How are we all doing, everyone? Welcome back to the channel once again. My name is Patrick Burow and today we are talking about Jigsaw and how to beat every single trap. This is the last video in this series I will be doing because I did Spiral back when, Spiral came out last year. I talked about how to beat those traps, so this is the last video in my run of how to beat Saw videos that we will be doing. It's kind of sad to me because I really enjoyed making these videos, analyzing these movies and analyzing the traps, seeing and finding creative ways to escape, but in reality, Jigsaw might be the easiest one out of all of them to beat. Probably because half of the traps are flat out unfair and unbeatable, a lot of them take a lot of thinking and time is on their side, or it's just that fucking easy and the characters knew it anyway. And also the convenience of certain traps when people try to cheat. But either way, I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to mention really quickly that we will not be talking about Edgar Munson's tents because all he really had to do was press a button. He woke up, there was a tape, he was given a device, and he had to press a button. There's really nothing he could do to avoid this because we know that Logan Nelson was on his ass and everything, and if he didn't do it, he was probably going to die anyway. Yeah. So with that said, we are going to be talking about the Murderous Trial and starting off with the bucket head trap. This trap was the first part of the Murderous Trial after all except Logan woke up, the tape played and the chain started pulling everyone to the buzzsaw. Jigsaw explains that they each have to sacrifice a small amount of blood in order to remove their bucket heads and whoever tries to cheat would die. Now with this one, there really is no way to cheat because anyone who cheated would die, as it says here on the listing and what I'm reading on the Saw Trap Wiki. But in regards to that, Jigsaw is watching, as we see in the flashback later on, talking about Logan Nelson's, past with Jigsaw and why he's doing what he's doing, that Jigsaw was literally just hiding behind a panel in the fucking wall. In saying that, there really is no real way to survive this trap by cheating or finding a way out otherwise. The most you could really do to beat this trap as easy as possible is to do what Anna suggests and to only sacrifice a small amount of blood, whether that's a tip of your finger or whether it's a small part on your arm or anything. Just do it in a way where it's not going to hit any vital organs or make you bleed to death. Next up, we have the chain hangers. The tape plays and tells the group to confess and that one of them had poison injected into them and was a purse snatcher which led to the death of an asthmatic woman. The group checked their bodies for marks, but everyone is clear but Carly. 3 needles descend from the ceiling which has numbers printed on them. The tape says that one has the antidote while the other 2 contain a harmless saline solution and hydrochloric acid. Before the tape ends, it asks, how much is a life worth to you? Now with this one, there is around about 2 parts to the trap for the reason that the trap starts off with them being pulled closer and closer to their position to be hung. In doing so, I know that Anna had the right idea by wrapping the chain around a bar, but in reality there wasn't enough chain for her to do this, therefore she slipped and got cut in the process. What they could have done is move closer to the device that was actually pulling them and maybe looped around the chain to wrap it around that. In doing so, it would have prevented them from being pulled up in the first place when the strangulation started. With this said though, in regards to Carly figuring out the solution and her figuring out her puzzle and how to survive with the riddle, it was really given to her and she realized early enough by saying $3.53. How much is a life worth to you? She realized that that was the money that she stole from the woman who then died because of her asthma attack. What a bullshit way to die, by the way. That's sad. But in saying this, she panicked and was a fucking moron and she ended up dying because, what was his name? Mitch? No, it was Ryan. Mitch is the other guy in the bicycle trap. But Ryan ended up basically just injecting her with all 3, so therefore they could all let go, and out of Carly's stupidity and her hesitation, she ended up dying. Moral of the story is when she said $3.53, Trust your gut. Next up, we have the grain silo. The victims in this trap were Anna and Mitch. Mitch and Anna left Ryan in the leg trap while they investigated the newly opened door. They walked into what appeared to be a grain silo where there was a video monitor and 2 remotes. The remote in the silo was just out of reach, so Mitch lifted up Anna to reach the remote. Once the remote was retrieved, the door to the silo slammed shut. The silo then began to fill with grain, burying Anna and Mitch up to their chests and arms, at which point it stopped. However, sharp objects such as knives, pitchforks, and circular saw blades then began to fall surrounding the two and occasionally hitting them one by one. Now, when it comes to this trap, this is a completely circumstantial trap for the reason that what was the circumstances? No, sorry, that's the wrong choice of words. What are the odds that Ryan stood on the very wooden board while he tried to cheat to open up the door with the shovel? What are the chances that his leg fell through? What would happen if he didn't fall through? Is there any way for them to survive? How did Jigsaw know? This is perfect placement out of pure fucking prophecy. Jigsaw at this point is a prophet and can predict everyone's movement in a ridiculous paranormal fashion. Like, what if Ryan didn't decide or try to cheat? In saying this, Mitch and Anna probably could have used the fork to basically break the gears that the wires were attached to, but at the same time, tampering with the gears and the wires in this movie is proven to just make them tighter and tighter around his leg. But what if he pulled the lever before they went into the grain silo? Again, it doesn't really make sense when you think about it. But in saying this, when they're in there waiting for Ryan to then pull the lever to get out, there really is only one thing that you can hide in your chances of survival, where even though Anna and Mitch survived anyway, to avoid being hit by the blades and everything, and to avoid, dying in that way and being stabbed, Anna and Mitch could possibly move right under the hole where the knives, the blades, and the forks are basically flying out and stabbing them in the process. If they go right under the hole, due to the movement, the angle, and the velocity of the sharp objects, they would easily be able to avoid them because it wouldn't be in their path whatsoever. This trap is more or less a reason of trying to figure out a way where you can heighten your chances, because it's all a circumstantial thing, and Jigsaw at this point is just a ridiculous prophet. Next up, we have the cycle trap. The victim of this trap was Mitch, who then finds a tape with his name on it. He was suspended above a cone-like metal object with metal coils on the inside. John explains that he must press the handbrake at the bottom of the cone in order to stop the trap. After the tape, Mitch was slowly lowered down into the cone, and if he got down far enough without pulling the handle, or in this case I should say the brake lever, he would essentially just be ground up into little sushi rolls or like mincemeat. Now, there's only really one way I can figure out how to actually beat this trap, because there doesn't seem to be a way where you can be strong enough to knock off the bike to stop it from rotating or lowering Mitch anyway. And in doing so as well, Anna does try this by sticking a metal bar through the wheel, but it does break anyway and continue. But there is one thing that you can do to heighten your chances. When Mitch is being lowered down, rather than making his body bigger and moving around so much with his arms and his legs, he could possibly straighten out his body and be as stiff as possible and thin as possible by tucking his arms and reaching with one arm as close to his head as possible to make himself as thin and small of an object as possible to avoid the blades on the inside of the device. In doing so, he also has an extended reach for the handle, and to stop the device, as is said, all he needs to do is pull the handle in the contraption. That's all he needs to do, and the trap will stop, or supposedly. We don't know this because he doesn't really try even when he is given the chance. I've seen a lot of people also theorize that you can maybe swing when the trap stops to try and make it over to the side or over to the bike, but I don't advise this, because what if the trap does start up again like it ended up doing? He'd be swinging in a constant momentum, and therefore he'd basically bounce back and forward in the cone like a ping pong ball because of the blades basically bouncing him back and forward while they cut him up into little mincemeat. My solution is to make yourself as small of a target an object as possible and be as stiff and solid as possible while reaching down for the handle and pulling it to stop the device, because as John says, this handle works unlike the one that you sold to my nephew. And that's basically the way that I came up with to survive. Be as small as possible, be stiff, and to pull the handle. This is a pretty self-explanatory trap, and I know a lot of you down in the comment section will be like, oh, your solution is just to do the trap. No, there are ways to basically heighten your chances, as I said, and I advise you not do other things that people have suggested. Also, can we just point out the fact that Jigsaw apparently has siblings? Like, he has a nephew. Where the fuck are they? I want to see where they are in a movie. Next up, we have the shotgun keys. When Anna attempted to leave the barn as Ryan was immobile and unable to follow, she was stopped by a man in a pig mask and rendered unconscious. The person in the pig mask reveals himself later on to be none other than John Kramer himself, who then placed a shotgun on a pedestal between Anna and Ryan. John explains that they must see the things upside down, and that the key is in the shotgun shell, which John loads into the gun. Anna misinterprets what John said and proceeds to take the shotgun and shoot Ryan. However, the gun backfires and shoots Anna in the head, killing her in the process. Now with this one, in the riddle, it says, here's your key to freedom, with the shotgun shell saying that the keys are basically in the shell itself. And with this, all they needed to do was analyze a shotgun. Time was on their side. Yes, Ryan is bleeding out, but the leg in the process, I believe, has been tourniqueted and covered up by John to basically heighten his chances of survival. No, it was done by Anna early on in the film in the barn, not bar. So in saying this, time was on their side, and all I needed to do was really look at the shotgun, really think about the riddle and what John has said, rather than jumping to conclusions like Anna did. In the process, she probably wouldn't have died, and Ryan wouldn't have died by a slow death from starvation or bleeding. If they analyzed the shotgun on the table in front of them, they possibly would have been able to interpret the fact that this was not a natural shotgun, that it had been modified and altered. And they should have come to expect this given the game that they've already participated in. So the only real way to beat this trap is to analyze the situation, analyze the gun, and, you know, buy time. Time is on your side. I know a lot of people said it to shoot the chains and everything around their shackles, but the gun would backfire. The gun would backfire, so not really a solution. Finally, we have the laser collars. The victim of this trap was Detective Brad Halloran. Logan, who was supposed to have failed the game, soon gets up and reveals the trap was inescapable. Logan revealed to Halloran that he is Jigsaw's first apprentice, and that he was one of the contestants in his original game. He reveals that the bodies they have been finding is his doing, as he recreated the first game with only 3 victims, with Logan and Halloran being the final 2. Halloran then proceeds the protest by saying that John would give his victims a chance, a way to win the game. Logan, however, rebutted this by saying that he had a choice to scream or don't. Logan activated Halloran's collar, which had functioning laser cutters despite his protest. The laser sliced Halloran's head into 8 pieces and then released his corpse, which fell to the ground. So as it says in the description of the trap, this trap is completely fucking rigged. This trap is inescapable. It is not meant to be beaten, considering it's in Logan's control with a little fucking remote. There is really only one solution to beat this trap. Considering that Halloran has such little movement due to where he is and how the trap is made, he can't really move his head, he can't really move his arms or his legs, get down low or anything. There is one opportunity where he could possibly kill Logan by pulling him into the lasers, this shot right here, but in the process he also runs the risk of doing this, and therefore when he pulls him in with either his arms or his legs, it could possibly kill Logan, yes, but there's no way for him to reach down and grab the remote. So in doing so, he has to make sure, even though he's in position, he has enough strength to catch Logan to then grab the remote if he doesn't drop it first. But otherwise, he's kind of just left there. He will die. There is no way to to beat this trap unless he is insanely lucky with his timing and precision and strength, all relating to him being able to kill and catch Logan. Otherwise, it's completely fucking rigged and is left up to fucking Logan to kill him anyway. But guys, those are my solutions to how to beat Jigsaw. This was a fun series to do, guys. And I know that this wasn't the best of the how to beat Saw videos, but that's because these traps are either fucking rigged, completely circumstantial, or so self-explanatory and straightforward it's not even funny. A lot of the characters die in this movie due to their own fucking idiocy. So with that said, guys, that does wrap up our How to Beat Saw series. This has been so much fun. I've loved making these videos, and your support on all of them has been absolutely amazing. Seriously, guys, it means the absolute world to me. Thank you so much. I love you all so much. I might do some more How to Beat videos in the future, such as a How to Beat the Human Centipede, or a How to Beat the Collector, or How to Beat Hostel and everything. Who knows? These videos take a lot of time to write and script and everything, and it takes about the same time, if not longer, from watching to writing to recording to editing as a general movie reaction. And doing one of these videos and a movie reaction in the same week takes a lot of effort, time, and dedication. But seriously, guys, I really do love and appreciate all of you, and thank you all so much for your endless support on this series. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute blast. I hope you all enjoyed the video anyway. Do be sure to give this video a thumbs up because it does help new people find my channel and helps the channel grow. Seriously, guys, it would mean the absolute world to me if you could give this video a thumbs up, as well as comment down below what you think or any other ways of how to beat the traps in Jigsaw. Do be sure to also click the subscribe button and the bell to get notified when new videos are up every single week, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.